Hey guys, it's Mandals here with long, glorious flowing hair. And also, I'm here to ask which Generation 4 legendary Pokemon had God himself begging for mercy. While I'm not generally a fan of Pokemon generations that are chock full of legendary Pokemon, I'm looking at you, Gen 5, Generation 4 does have some cool ones, all of which are ridiculously powerful. That being said, pinning these monsters against each other made for a really fun project when it came to ultimately finding out which one was the greatest. Anyways, I'm sure you guys are more than familiar with what this series is about by now, but just in case you aren't, you can go ahead and pause the video now to review some rules and disclaimers. Furthermore, if you're new to this series and haven't seen the previous entries, go ahead and click our Lord and Savior Rowlet to catch up with the details. So in Sinnnoh, you've got Pokemon that are gods, dragons that manipulate time and space, and even one that is the embodiment of nightmares. But the question is, which one is the best? Let's find out.
Number 10, Heatran. I'm not gonna lie, Heatran, in my humble opinion, looks a little dorky. Appearance-wise, it's almost as if you took a whale, gave it legs, and then fused it with a pepperoni pizza. If you like the Pokemon's design, I'm happy for you, but I'll continue thinking that it looks like a rejected Muppet. However, even I realize that I'd be a complete fool if I didn't at least respect Heatran for being such a phenomenal battler. That's especially applicable nowadays given the magical item that is the air balloon. Sure, that item wasn't accessible in Gen 4, but that doesn't really matter when you consider the following. First of all, Heatran has an excellent type coverage. Stab Fire attacks will take care of the popular Scissor and Lucario, and Earth Power will take out opposing fire types, including other Heatrans. There are also many other special attacks that Heatran can utilize with a lot of varying types, since Heatran boasts a solid 130 base special attack. Its other stats are pretty solid, but Heatran does unfortunately suffer from subpar speed, at least for a legendary. Fortunately, a Choice Scarf will fix this, which pretty much only leaves one glaring problem, a quad weakness to ground. That aside, Heatran really should be feared, even if it looks a little goofy. Number 9, Cresselia. A lot of the Pokemon on this list are ones that you may find more attack-oriented than anything else. However, if you want to deviate from this, you should feast your eyes on Cresselia. Cresselia doesn't need brute force to achieve her goals. This interdimensional coin slot ride is too elegant for that shit. Cresselia gets things done by boasting admirable HP, defense, and special defense stats. Essentially, the Pokemon stalls foes to death, and she does so quite well. Not dying is a good feature to have when following this strategy, and Levitate increases Cresselia's survivability tenfold. Cresselia can take a hit from just about anything, with the only exception being the most powerful Dark, Ghost, and Bug moves. This allows her to use classic status moves such as Toxic and Thunder Wave, and even bounce back using Moonlight. Running Reflect and Light Screen isn't a bad move either, especially when Cresselia is equipped with Light Clay. Lastly, Lunar Dance is a nice niche move to have if you're certain Cresselia will faint and you have another team member that desperately needs healing. If support is what your team needs, grab a Cresselia and enjoy. Number 8, Manaphy. Coming in as Gen 4's cute, tiny, 100 base stat legendary Pokemon, we've got Manaphy. Oh, and try not to confuse this with this store brand Manaphy here. Manaphy is just an overall better version of Phione, and this puts it in an amazing position. For starters, 100 base stats all around makes the Pokemon comfortably balanced and allows for a lot of versatility. And while that alone merits praise, what really makes Manaphy deserving of praise is its wonderful attack, Tail Glow. This move is essentially Swords Dance, but for special attack instead. And sure, the move increases special attack by a whopping 3 stages nowadays, but raising it by 2 stages is still very handy, especially considering that Manaphy has access to hard-hitting special attacks like Ice Beam, Surf, and Grass Knot. You can use Calm Mind for a more defensive approach, and Rest to really seal the deal. Sorry Phione, but your big bro definitely has you beat here. Number 7, Shaymin Sky. Okay guys, real talk. Shaymin is no doubt a little cutie, but this hedgehog's power was a little underwhelming by legendary standards. That's why Pokemon Platinum rolled around and said, you know what, Shaymin shouldn't just be adorable, it should be a vicious killer too. By changing Shaymin into its Sky form, you're sacrificing a tiny bit of your defenses, but in return you're gaining better attack and speed and a plethora of more. This includes the addition of flying to Shaymin's type combo. But Mandals, ice types are a thing and blah-de-blah-de-blah. Well, viewer, it also means that the Pokemon benefits from stab flying moves. Air Slash will hit your foes like a truck, and so will Shaymin's signature move, Seed Flare. This move not only rips opposing Pokemon to shreds, but it also has a chance to lower their special defense by 2 whole stages. Lastly, you can throw a Choice Scarf on this Mon, and it'll be really hard to stop. And also, incredibly fashionable. Number 6, Giratina. Say hello to our number 6 entry, the devil himself. Surely you're familiar with the theory that Giratina has demonic roots, and surely you'd assume that a Pokemon with that sort of background would be powerful. Well, you'd be right to assume so, because Giratina was, and still is, a freaking menace. Coming straight from hell, Giratina comes equipped with fantastic defense and HP stats. And despite the Pokemon's look that suggests it could level a skyscraper in a mere second, Giratina is actually more of a tanker than anything else. Tanker meaning that it's good at receiving hits, not dealing them. This isn't bad in the slightest, however, and this means that Giratina can wreak havoc with moves such as Will-O-Wisp, Rest, and and Calm Mind. Calm Mind will ensure that the Pokemon gets enough attack to deal damage while also making Giratina tankier. Will-O-Wisp will make the opponent's attack weaker, and Giratina's natural typing makes it a spin blocker. Pull things off correctly with it, and your Giratina will become unstoppable. Number 5. Dialga. Sure, this Pokemon's cry may sound like a deer getting thrown into a wood chipper, but once you look past that, you'll find that Dialga is one of the fiercest Pokemon that the Generation 4 metagame has to offer. First of all, Steel Dragon? Yes, please. That type combo is perhaps the coolest one to ever grace the Pokemon franchise. Its Steel typing even makes the Pokemon quite efficient since Steel resists practically everything in the book. Dialga is a wonderful blend of offense and defense, but the one thing that really catches my eye is that 150 base special attack. Also, naturally, since the Pokemon is a dragon, this means that the Pokemon's move pool is pretty rounded. You can use Thunder, Fire Blast, and Flash Cannon just to name a few. And like mentioned before, Dialga's special attack is great, so these moves are gonna hit hard. Dialga controls time itself, so it's good to know that it can live up to its reputation. Number 4. Giratina Origin. If you didn't know already, the Hellspawn Giratina actually has more than one form.
Oh my god.
The difference, however, if you're wondering, is Origin Form Giratina boasts a much better attack and special attack stat. This is the version that you're going to want to be using if you want to eliminate all life on Earth as quickly as possible. And while the Pokemon boasts extreme offensive prowess, also keep in mind that this version isn't half bad at tanking either. For starters, Origin Form gains the Levitate ability, which makes it immune to ground-type moves. Furthermore, like the Pokemon's other variants, it can't be hit by normal moves, and its HP still remains amazing. Another thing Origin Giratina gains over the standard form is the Grisius Orb. This item boosts the Pokemon's stab moves by a whopping 20%. Lastly, once you've established all that wonderful info, it then simply becomes a matter of which attacks you want to run. And trust me, you've got a ton of options. Go ham. Number 3. Palkia. Dialga might have the debatably cooler type combo, but I've gotta say, Palkia has the slight advantage when it comes to battling. And don't let that pink color scheme fool you. Palkia is a badass dragon that is the ruler of space and has plenty of competitive viability to back it up. First of all, Palkia's type combo gives it a wonderful amount of resistances. Sure, Water Dragon is completely random, but hey, you won't be complaining once you find out that that means Palkia is only weak to Dragon. And you certainly won't be complaining once you see these gorgeous stats. Like Dialga, you'll find a godly 150 base special attack, but something Palkia has that the Time Dragon doesn't is overall better survivability. Palkia also benefits from stab water moves, which is incredibly useful in the Generation 4 metagame. You also just can't go wrong with moves such as Spatial Rend and Hydro Pump. You can trust me when I say that if you throw a Palkia on your team, you and everyone else who bought Pokemon Pearl will feel like you got your money's worth. Number 2. Darkrai. Considering that this Pokemon is responsible for feasting on the nightmares of poor individuals, it's safe to assume that Darkrai is capable of absolutely demolishing other Pokemon. This Pokemon is essentially the E-rated version of Freddy Krueger, but if that's not enough to spook you, sit down and let me tell you a little story. You see, Darkrai has this terrifying move called Dark Void. What's Dark Void, you may ask? Well, it's an attack that puts your foe to sleep. Sure, that's not too scary on its own, but it damn well is when you factor in Darkrai's other abilities. Bad Dreams, Darkrai's ability depletes the HP of sleeping foes every turn. You can pair this up with Dream Eater or Nightmare, and before you know it, your opponent will be biting the dust. Basically, Darkrai earns its title of Overpowered due to its incredible ability to completely shut down foes. Darkrai's speed is also phenomenal, and it is outsped by very few others. Darkrai is definitely good nightmare fuel, at least for a competitive Pokemon player. Number 1. Arceus. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Pokemon that is often dubbed as God of the entire Pokemon universe. We've got Arceus. And well, it's a damn good thing that God is the most overpowered, because that'd be pretty insulting otherwise. So what exactly makes the almighty Arceus, well, almighty? How about the fact that this bad boy can be any type that it pleases? All you have to do is throw the plate that you want on the Pokemon and boom, it's a bug type. Or dark type, or whatever type you want. Also, Arceus carried the highest base stat total in the game. That is until this guy showed up. Furthermore, all of Arceus' stats weigh in at the same incredible base number of 120. And in conclusion, the Pokemon's move pool is absolutely bonkers. And not only can the Pokemon learn the move, but Arceus can surely abuse it as well. It is for these reasons that Arceus earns the title of Most Overpowered Sinnoh Legendary. Checkmate, atheists. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like my stuff, you should check out my live stream on Twitch as well as my Twitter page for constant updates. I'll be streaming Sun and Moon once they release, so you for sure can't miss that. Also, be sure to subscribe for more if you like the stuff and click on my videos below if you want to watch some of my previous content. That's all for now, guys, and until next time, peace.